Hello and welcome in, everybody. We have an amazing game for you here tonight. I am Danny Saligman, joined by BCL, Braden Chevry. Braden, how you doing?
I'm living the dream. I could not be more excited to get some PEC Power Esports Conference gameplay kicked off tonight.
Not only is it gameplay, it is electric gameplay. It is the season opener for our Overwatch team, our new and improved Overwatch team. Now, I don't know if you've been following. I know you're a little bit new to the game, the scene, the players on this team, but as someone who has spent the last 3 years of my life being best friends with the current captain of this Overwatch team, I know they've been through a lot.
Oh, certainly. And, of course, Lawson, the former captain, is abroad right now, so even the leadership has changed a little bit. But I've been very close with this team in, like you said, Harris, Azer, as well as Lawson, and talking about some of the team-building activities that this team has that some of our others don't. This team watches VOD together during team dinners, and that sets them apart out of game. Well,
you know what they say, iPad kids. Always got to be watching something while you eat. This team takes it to a whole new level. I also will say, just from being in close proximity with Azer so much, he cares about this team. And you can really tell the coach, Ryan Sneaky, he also cares so much about this team. And I hope it's going to set up for success in what is going to be a kind of tough matchup against Boise State.
Well, that is a great point, as I did get to talk to all of the players earlier today when they got into the facility, and all of them unanimously said, that the biggest difference is the coach. Sneaky has come in, has that professional esports experience, has coaching experience, and has taken over this team.
Hopefully it kind of turns into a different kind of, we've never seen this before from Syracuse Overwatch specifically, and honestly, a lot of other Syracuse teams, just off the top of my head, I can't think of one where the coaching has really played this big of a role. It's something that Azer has also talked about a lot, how he's like, after the first couple, I remember over the summer when he was in the process of talking with Sneaky, trying to figure out if he is going to be the coach, if that's the right thing, if that's what they want to do for this team. And after like the first couple meetings, first meeting, he's like, this guy's pretty cool, whatever, couple more meetings, 1-2 more meetings, he was smitten.
Oh,
completely enamored, and from what I hear, it's been paying off. They're structured in their practices. They're structured with their VOD review, and honestly, the biggest thing I think about a coach is for these college kids, it helps keep you accountable, holds you accountable to something, keeps you consistent.
I mean, even us. We got to listen to the pregame talk from Sneaky to the team, and we came in ready to go. We almost ran through the screen to you guys. But the biggest takeaway I got from that was, what are you playing for?
Yeah.
That's what he asked his players. Not the first game of the PEC, not your first Syracuse game, but what are you personally playing for outside of the game? And I think especially for these young players, that's going to pay off in-game.
Because now kind of talking to Azer and Sneaky and figuring out kind of the strength of this matchup before the game, Boise State has historically been a very, very strong Overwatch team. I know coming into the game, I was hearing a lot from Azer and that it's not like, you never want to say you're going to lose going into the game, right? You never want to walk into a game expecting to lose. But if you're like a basketball team where everybody's 5'6" and you have to go against 5 prime Shaquille O'Neals, that's kind of how the Syracuse team felt previously, but something changed.
Exactly. I always love the saying, nobody roots for Goliath, all right? Everybody is on the side of Syracuse. Who doesn't love an upset? But even going into this, looking at the projected rosters and things like that, Sneaky's message was, it's winnable. We need to play our best Overwatch, and it's certainly winnable. A team, Boise State, historically, is not used to a lot of losses. So if they're able to take map 1, maybe map 2, we can catch them off guard.
Best thing you can do to Goliath, hit him with the sling. We know from history, and also the physical roster for Boise State, at least the one that we were given, is much different than the roster in previous years. I don't know how familiar the audience is with kind of how Overwatch is quote-unquote ranked at the highest level, but just to give you a quick overview, there's you kind of talk about it in context of what level, grand skill level, is the opponent team. Right? Like, what do they scrim? That's kind of what people talk. Do you scrim 4-1, which is 4,100 elo, 4-2, 4-3, 4-4? Historically, Boise State, according to Sneaky, according to some other people, around a solid 4-4 team. That is near the top. You'd probably call pros, I don't know, 4-6, 4-7. I'm not an Overwatch professional. But what Sneaky was saying is that Syracuse solidly in solidly scrimming 4-3, but they have the potential to play to 4-4. And if you come out early, if you come out strong and show not only yourself, but your teammates and the other team that you can play up to that potential and you can contest them in doing these advanced things, can get under there, can get in their head a little bit.
And these are two teams, as we load in the map here, that have changed up some positions a little bit. Lunar, keep an eye on the Syracuse side. Last year, played DPS. This year, holding it down with the tank. And here we are, the Arctic Tundra, getting ready to start this one off.
Oh my gosh, Braden. I am getting chills as we look over the beautiful sheets of ice.
It looks like our campus.
It looks just like our campus. I mean, the weather's starting to turn. Rain is coming down. You all at home in the broadcast, you just saw me. You're lucky I changed my shirt.
That's true. You were kind of wet.
I was wearing a gray shirt. Yep. Soaked.
I like the air dry of the hair, though. It kind of flows a little bit.
The air dried giveth and the air dried taketh away. But as we see these kind of teams sit up here waiting to kind of lock in, it seems like their team comps are, I don't know if this is, these Overwatch guys like to switch a lot last second, but something that kind of jumps right out of the page is this ball for Boise State. It's not typically what you see. Normally you're used to a Ram and a Rissa, maybe a Rhine if you're feeling tricky, and that is what we're seeing from Syracuse. We're seeing a very typical top, the Ram, the Juno, the BAP, Azer on the May.
Yeah, I think Azer on the May could be the difference maker here.
Yep.
Obviously, Syracuse has talked a lot in scrims about sticking together, and that all comes through their IGL in Azer. So with him having that gun on him, he can really make some plays.
Right now, as the first fight starts to kick off, Boise State does find the first pick on speed glasses. Saint tries to throw down the MO field, but it doesn't quite work. Lunar picks one up coming out the back, but Syracuse down 2. Going to try to look back up, stabilize, see if they can regroup and get back in, but Boise State gets the first cap.
Yeah, able to get some trades. Obviously, Boise State on the hill, but overall, if you look at that fight, it's not too bad for Syracuse off the break. One thing they talked about was getting in there first and getting those first bloods. Didn't happen right there, but responding right back now.
We see the switch to Cree. It's trying to help with the ball a little bit. Cassidy's E is a slow. It's a projectile, so that can try and help deal with the movement. And this is really important with the May wall. So we see Azer coming in right there. That clutch May wall blocking off the left side of the point. It's going to split Boise State and isolate them. And now Syracuse just trying to shoot fish in a barrel, so to speak. We see Speed Glasses trying to pound away at this hamster, but ends up getting exploded by the mine. Syracuse does not want to give it up too easy. Looking to stabilize back, try and find the right positions from which to try and claw back a man down.
And as you said in the beginning, I might be new to Overwatch, but one thing I do know is you cannot 1v1 a tank. You have to team hit them. Obviously, the support helping them out, but right there we saw Syracuse on an island, and it didn't work out for him.
We see some more picks. Saint and M3 both are going to fall. That will be the Syracuse backline. So the call is going to come in for Syracuse to try and back up, regroup, and now's the point where they got to control their nerves a little bit.
Exactly. This is a young team, as we've talked about. We can tell the comms might be a little frantic right now, but again, it's still a close game when you look at the actual objective numbers. Sure, the Bloods are going certain ways, but looking at the ults and the position they're getting themselves in, here Syracuse comes in and starts to make a break.
Flurry of ults going to come out on the board. You have the Blizzard, you have the Ram ult, both coming in. 2 powerful ults going to pretty much run through the front line of Boise State, but something to keep note of as they kind of stagger here. The Juno, crawls around, tries to get out. We'll see if they can find the stagger. It doesn't look like they can, but look at the ult economy. Syracuse blew 2 valuable ults, but Boise State still with 4.
Yeah, the ult economy is obviously all signs towards Boise State, but the objective numbers are going the way of Syracuse University. If they're able to tie it up here, might be in a little trouble, but they could also bait Boise into using these ults a little bit early.
Jockeying for position now. Syracuse kind of grouped up on this left side, but the ball doing what ball does so well, flies up in the air, able to smash down and use that ult to completely disrupt the flow of Syracuse. You blink and you miss it. More ults come out. Syracuse falls, and Boise State, like we were talking about, use just 2 of those 4 ults to kind of take back the point.
Exactly. You go 5 down. If you're Syracuse, you say, okay, maybe they used all of them. But as you just said, we still have 2 in the bag. So it looks like a 2-2 split in terms of ults. They're tied in that regard. Who's going to use them? Who's going to stack them more effectively? We're going to find out when we get into the next fight here.
Syracuse is going to try and find a position to use that bat bolt, to use that field. As we see now, they do it, and they dead-eye through, but the ball comes through, knocks the Cass off the positioning and now kind of scrambling around. Syracuse looking to stabilize, but no heals, no help in the backline for Speed Glasses. He's going to go down. Strider finds 2, just absolutely chaotic. The May hasn't even used her ult yet. They have the point. Overtime is ticking down. Syracuse is done.
Yeah, I mean, you get to 99, you get to overtime. It's kind of a sprint to the finish there. But when you get 3-4 of the Syracuse members down, you're going to understand how that fight goes. Overall, I think the tank usage for Boise State, able to distract Syracuse a little bit, that's something they got to be more disciplined about. Stay together in their formation. What did you see out of that, though?
For sure, and I don't think you're expecting the ball. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the way Overwatch works, we are not done. It is a King of the Hill map. So it is first to 2 kind of like points win to win the map. Excuse me. Boise State has 1, so we have more. Do not worry. Syracuse is not out of the first map just yet. Like I was saying before, though, I think ball as a concept, the wrecking ball, the tank, it messes you up. It throws you off your game, and especially in a meta where you don't see much ball, it just compounds and it makes you even more confused.
Well, for somebody who is watching all these scrims, I was very surprised to see a cute little hamster in our feed right here. Another one is Lucio. We're not seeing any Lucio anymore.
Nope.
That meta has shifted, different kinds of support, and we're seeing it make its way in right here.
Seeing a Juno taking place of the Lucio as Syracuse try and fight on this height, try and jockey for position. But again, the ball from Boise State, you see in the backline, just trying to shoot in, pop that barrier, gain that shield, and then get out, cause chaos. Juno as well goes underneath the ground and pops up and absolutely causes chaos. Lunar's trying to fight on this height, but getting shoved down by the May. Getting some good damage in, but with the healing, the strong healing from Juno and Ana, you don't. It can be hard to come across. And now the picks are flying back and forth. Strider finds 1 on Saint, but the counter support, Juno, is taken down for Boise. Speedglass is able to find another. The trade back on the tank, but Azer able to find the kill on the DPS, gives Syracuse the man advantage for now, though. Right as I say that, Strider takes down M3. And now with that tank alive, Syracuse is going to need a miracle to try and hold the cast falls. And now it is just Azer trying to escape. The Gear's going to come in and keep him alive, but that will be the fight to Boise.
Azer very comfortable with playing Tracer. That is his known meta right there. But having to need some help around the team. You can't play Tracer against a tank and think you're going to win it. Doesn't matter if you have an ult or anything. But one thing I noticed out of Lunar, making an adjustment right there, not sticking in the 1v1 fight, backing up to the hill, looking for his teammates. That's what they need to do the rest of this game.
Stick from Azer, able to go around to the backline and find the kill onto that Ana. They have to push this advantage, but the counter ult comes out from the hamster. It's going to find the support of Syracuse. Saint falls down to the 1v1. Syracuse, Azer able to find the kill onto the Juno, but like we've said, Strider just keeps causing chaos. The Orisa ult comes out, but it's not going to do much. It'll kill the May, but Strider has just been a Syracuse backline merchant, and Lunar falls, and with him goes the dreams of Syracuse for that fight.
That's heartbreaking. You used the ult, and as you said in the very beginning, didn't look great. Was able to pull out 1 kill, 1 shot away from a second or third. Want to finish those squishy kills right there, but so far, Syracuse, again, just getting outgunned themselves. Objective play is looking all right, though.
Syracuse have to try to find a way to deal with this kind of all-consuming pressure of Strider on the wrecking ball. As you see, they try and fight. This height is so crucial. Whoever gets control of the fight, the height is going to more or less win the fight. And as we see, Strider just going through the backline, trying to make things difficult. Speedglasses finds that first pick onto the May. That is crucial. They need to turn this advantage. Saint does do it by taking out the support, and now they are collapsing on this Ana. It should be a pretty easy cleanup. All they have to do is take care of this ball, who will stall and stall, but it looks like the point is going to go to Syracuse.
Yeah, Speedglass is going to get aggressive with these kills, as we call it in Call of Duty, an ego chow, if you will.
Right.
Talk to Speedglasses today. No nerves coming into today. So can he rally that around his team, make sure everybody's on the same page, and able to get these ticks up?
Cold-blooded killer. Now, Syracuse has this point and has to try and hold strong against this this Boise State push, but it looks like Saint going to go down, and the pause, probably a tech pause, I mean most certainly a tech pause, is going to come out as we kind of, take a sudden stop on the action.
Which is great for us. We could certainly catch our breaths right there as trays were going back and forth in and around the hill. But it really has been the tank play for both of these teams that's kind of decided it. You got a ball running around trying to track that down, but at the same time, our tanks playing close with our players and trying to get something done there.
Yeah, it's kind of two different philosophies on how you kind of want to run like a death ball comp,
Exactly.
right? The idea is kind of you grab your team, you put them in a ball, and you throw it.
Yep.
And things die in front of it. But Boise State aren't really doing that. And I feel like Syracuse, I've seen them scrim, I've seen them play, and I mean, I've said this before, but I don't think they're that familiar playing against a wrecking ball. Not only just any old wrecking ball, right? Show up in your comp game in the silver rank. No, this is like a smart, talented tank player who is demanding a response from Syracuse.
Exactly. Strider, only a freshman, but very familiar with the competitive aspect of Overwatch. And we're back.
We're right back into the gameplay. As we remember, on the tail end of the pause, Syracuse went down one right as we came back. They went down another, a third. And it looks like the fight is going to go back to Boise State. Now Syracuse are going to have to pull out a miracle contest as they are. Boise State is approaching 100%. That Maywall comes out from Boise State, brilliantly blocking off the Deadeye, and that is going to do it for not only this map, but the game. So Boise State take a 1-0 lead over Syracuse University. Again, this is a best of 5.
Exactly. You know, in competitive Overwatch, you see maybe a lot of 99, 99, and then that overtime decide it. You didn't see it here. I thought there were some great things from Syracuse and some moments they were able to get 30, 40 points at a time. But overall, Boise State just overwhelmed them in the kill feed, for sure.
It was really, really impressive tank play from Strider. And also, I feel like I want to see the ult economy and the ult usage be a little bit better from Syracuse, because it's not just about, right, like 5 ults versus 5 ults. It's not just about knowing when to physically use those ults and use them effectively, but also it's about ult tracking, understanding what ults your opponent has, and positioning in such a way that you don't just get blown up, because that's what it felt like was happening. Syracuse would, I don't know, the Deadeye would come from the back, or the Blizzard would come out, or the Juno Life Beam would spring from the floor, the Fountain of Life. All of that kind of can just be thrown away by a well-timed Wrecking Ball ult. Drops the minefields everywhere.
Look at you with your Juno vocabulary already. It takes no time for Danny Salads to get his comp meta right back on top. But that is something Syracuse talked about a lot. Different levels of competitive play, excuse me. But they said the two biggest things, rotations, which we're going to have to keep an eye on as we continue to go, and comms. Calming effectively and calming intelligently about what the other team might be doing as well.
And I will say that map, those kind of maps, they are tiny. I don't think that's Syracuse's strength. I think they prefer these payload maps, these hybrid maps where they can, you know, play with a little bit more space. I know from personal experience, just watching Azer play a lot, he loves to take these flank angles and get behind the opponent and cause havoc from the backline in a similar way to what we saw Strider do in that first map. Yeah,
Strider was probably the player of the game in this first map. Certainly, maybe throwing the entire lobby off with what he was playing, but more importantly, how he was playing off his teammates, having his support nearby, as all good tank and support duos should be, but also just being able to execute, aim in on the head, and rush at the appropriate times as well.
You gotta keep it. Overwatch is a complicated game.
Trust me, I've experienced that.
There is a lot more to keep track of than what initially meets the eye. As we move into this next map, what I'm pretty sure will be Kings Row, Syracuse are going to definitely try to look to stabilize. And now, stable, right? That's a term that if you're familiar with competitive Overwatch, you might hear that being called out within a match. What stable means is pretty much just back up, don't do anything, reset.
Exactly.
Little bit of a different context in between maps, but same kind of process applies. Syracuse just has to kind of reset.
And it was the biggest storyline of our pregame, which is the coach for Syracuse, Sneaky. What is he telling his players right now? Multiple different age levels, juniors, freshmen, sophomore, some playing their first time, like Saint playing his first time in person, has played competitive before, but never with his teammates right around him. What do you think that message is?
It's a whole different game to be in the same room. The energy is palpable, and I think Sneaky is just trying to call back to that pregame speech we were talking about, right? What are you playing for? What are these specific players playing for? I'll tell you what they're not playing for. They're not playing to kind of get washed like they did in Map 1. Now, theoretically, right, skill-wise on the rankings, Boise State might be above Syracuse, but that means nothing. Not nothing, but that pales as a force when compared to the desire, right? The will to win, the will to prove something, to prove that you're adequate, that you can play, that this is real, that that this is something you're passionate about, and that has to be translated through the gameplay. And I think this map, which is going to be Kings Row, is going to be a nice avenue for Syracuse to make that happen.
It's all about how you respond. Let's see how Syracuse does it here. Coach Ryan in the pregame said, if you confront the challenge, do not back down. That challenge is your opportunity. We got an opportunity on Kings Row right here. Let's see what happens.
Syracuse are going to start on attack. Another pause. I just love seeing those yellow pause markers as Braden and I scramble to get back to our places.
Good rotation out of you, Daniel.
That's good rotation. That absolutely is magnificent work. It seems like that might be a really quick pause, though, as we're headed right back into the match. Love that.
We got to push up here.
Love that for us because we don't have to try and make up things to talk about between the maps. No, okay. So Boise State is going to start this on defense, and they are playing kind of a classic Overwatch. You would see this comp in Overwatch 1. As there's another pause, Braden and I, you should have seen the acrobatics
it's
we just did
sweaty up here.
Be right where you see us standing.
Yeah, on our marks. Daniel, the seasoned caster here at Syracuse. And, of course, bringing me alongside you, but bringing me into the game as we go.
To the match, maybe we'll be able to go this time. And as you see the strat that Syracuse is doing, they're not going to stick with this Mercy Widow throughout the whole attack phase. They're just doing this right off the start because that top door is going to open, and Widow is going to get a powerful sightline down onto a lot of the ground that Boise State has to defend. But as you see, switching to the Sojourn and kind of probing the front of this point. Azer is going to go down, lose the Tracer duel to Strider. If we notice, there's been a substitution. Strider, the Wrecking Ball from the last game, is now on Tracer. So something interesting to take note of for Syracuse.
Another thing to really take note of is Lunar playing that Orisa. We saw it on the last map. How it's going to translate into Kings Row here. Shots coming all over the places. Azer, one shot away, but able to get some of the support from his teammates. And we can hear the comms kind of scrambling in the background as we get into a close range fight here.
That's right. This Rhine is trapped in that thing. You want to kind of keep him there and press your advantage. Speedglasses was able to find that Sojourn right click on the Ash to kind of give them a quick advantage, and now Syracuse have to press this. They're trying to take the hotel spot because that grants, number one, like I was talking about before, Azer, really good opportunities for flanking, and it also gives them high ground. Baptiste is just going to want to pop up here and shoot down Rain Hellfire on Boise State. Azer on that flank, able to take down the Ana, as we're kind of just watching, like, Saint doing his best. Lunar now trying to push space, push this break back into the hotel, make space for your team to cap the point, because when they're sitting on this point, Boise State isn't contesting. That's free percentage.
They're all right next to each other, each of them kind of branching out, trying to get a kill or at least some damage, and this is what we need to see Syracuse do in order to take over in this map and the rest of the series. Azer, like you said, taking that flank.
With that pulse bomb, throwing it in, isn't able to find a kill, but now 1-for-1 for each team. Speedglass is able to respond on the Ash, and now it's kind of just business as usual for Syracuse. They have to keep pushing this advantage. The tank has fallen, so they just have to hold pat, stay on this point, and now it's time to escort the payload.
Exactly, and Orisa getting close to that ult. We'll see where they decide to utilize it. If it's to clear out this alley right here, or whether they keep it in the back pocket, wait for some of their other teammates to get close, as we see M3 getting close to his ultimate as well, but everybody else is going to need to get some more engagements to get close to that.
That's right. On the side of Boise State, Frost and Hex, the Ash and the Brig, approaching that ultimate. The Rhino is going to come up soon, and now we see the Storied Tracer duel kind of takes place on the right side of that hotel, but both Tracers opt to back up, and now the the purple is going to come in for Syracuse to back up. Speedglasses getting chunked through this choke point. This choke point is a pivotal spot on Kings Row for the attackers to push through, and as we see, the Bob going to come and sit right at the entrance to try and keep Syracuse out for as long as possible, but pushing in, Lunar is able to take out that Bob, so now it's just a 5v5 to worry about. The Orisa is going to come in, control the space, pull everybody in, and force them back. Big chunks of damage onto the Rhine. Take that space. Someone is asleep on the point, but they're just getting a nice doze as they're sleeping. Syracuse is kind of falling apart. Azer's the only one left.
You get that Orisa ult. You get some productive movement out of it, but then you're falling 2, now 4 in the kill feed if you are Syracuse. Gonna need to regain that payload control, keep it going in the right direction. Speedglasses, the sharpshooter he is, playing it from distance, waiting for his teammates to come up, join in with him. Maybe we see another push out of the tanks here.
2 ults, both DPS ults from the side of Syracuse going into this fight. The Nano and the Earth Shatter going to be up for Boise. Syracuse kind of want to just find a way for their DPS to cook. The overclock is going to be big, but Azer wins the Tracer duel, and that is an absolutely big stick.
Huge.
Azer able to, like I said, find the flank, find the pulse bomb, and now this is just easy pickings for the rest of the fight.
That's 4 right there. Gonna make it 5. Now Syracuse has complete control of this point, potentially series shifting in momentum. Speedglasses going up top, has the entire map. Will Boise be able to read this rather predictable spot he's playing right here? But again, has that ult, has both abilities in his back pocket as well. Tank gonna push out and start engaging. Try to push Boise State back a little bit, but again, as long as that payload's moving forward, you are okay if you're Syracuse.
Yeah, this is going to be, the spot here is going to be where the next fight is going to come in for Boise against Syracuse. Lunar trying to split off, pick off that Ryan. The BAP ult is going to come out from the high ground, like you were talking about, and give space for Syracuse to fire down. But Strider caused havoc on the Wrecking Ball, now on the Tracer, gets into the back line, wins the Tracer duel against Azer. Syracuse down 2, no choice but to back out.
With Speedglasses right there, didn't see a lot in the kill feed with that ult, but it's what it did around the map. Understanding that ult is popped, what is Boise's response going to be? They're a very disciplined team. They're not going to try to push out and overpower it. They backed up, able to stay up. One went down in another fight, but overall didn't look that productive. Pretty good move out of Speedglasses right there.
Definitely good. And now if we look at the ults for Boise State, they have 3 ults, 3 powerful ults. Syracuse is going to come up with the Juno ult and maybe the Orisa ult if they can farm it up fast enough. But now it's kind of what they're doing. They're just playing here. They're playing the chokes. They're trying to farm up the ult. But Strider, we've been saying his name all game, finds the kill onto Speedglasses. Syracuse is down 1. They should be just backing up, but Lunar is split completely off from the rest of his team.
He's going to find that second ult of this round, though, so that can come in handy as the rest of his team is starting to get them as well. 2 players above 50% with Speed, obviously just using his. But definitely backing up if you're Syracuse, but not in a bad spot in terms of the ult economy.
I mean, that is it is kind of tough for Syracuse. Because the only real ult that Boise kind of committed to that fight was Bob and the Shatter. And both the Briggle could be so strong, but Azer now, his turn to win the Tracer duel, takes out Strider, and now Syracuse just have to find the right spot. Goes in for the pulse, throws it into the ground, and as we see that first Juno ult come out, M3 with that ult now trying to push the advantage. Lunar a kill with the Orisa ult, finds another, clean-up crew arrives. Syracuse should capture this next point.
It's the second time we've seen nearly a squad wipe and able to take a lot of this map. Looking to get up to that second checkpoint as they've stacked on this time. And look who it is. Speedglasses up top. But what we really got to look out for is the 2 ults used from Boise State and no results.
That's right. They committed 2 powerful ults to that fight, and it kind of came out with nothing. That being said, Syracuse were not cheap that fight as well. Syracuse and Strider now. This is the Tracer duel we want to see. 16 HP. Syracuse has got to find the healing. The recall comes out. Now in Tracer duels, the first person to recall is generally the person who is going to lose the fight, but gets more complicated when it's not just a 1v1. Azer pops his recall out, and everybody just calls it a moot point for that Tracer fight, and now the fight is going to start turning into more of a team action behind the point. Lunar able to get behind that Ryan, use the Javelin to reposition him, but the amazing play from Boise State from Hex pops the Brig ult, able to keep his tank alive, and now pushing forward off that advantage. The Pulse Bomb is going to find the kill and damage onto Saint, cleaned up by Hex. Syracuse, without their main support, now lose the Tracer. No choice but to back up.
This is really the second time this map we've seen Boise State take over a little bit. As time starts to wind down for Syracuse, they're going to need to get on this and continue to push as far up as they can in the allotted time. But again, Syracuse looking good in the slaying department, but when you're on offense, that's going to happen.
It's tough, and now the purple comes out from Ana onto Lunar, dink down to low HP. Now we're seeing this Tracer duel in action. Both Tracers kind of fighting on the right flank. It's kind of like a Widow 1v1, right? Both players do place an enormous amount of ego and pride into this, but Speed Classes uses that overclock, dashes, and flies up onto height, and now this is Sojourn's absolutely favorite position to be in. Just able to fire down on that Rhine shield, gain charge, Lunar into the backline as well, able to take it down, and now in overtime, Syracuse want to see how far they can push this.
Exactly. It's all about the progress when the clock is not on your side. Not sure if they're going to be able to push it all the way, but again, you want as much as you can on your side so that your defense doesn't have to work as hard. Lunar absolutely taken over, working on his third ult right now.
Just trying to keep them out of the door now. This is amazing work from Lunar, trying to pressure the people away, but the ults start to fly out from Boise State. The bomb, the shatter, the nano all come out, and 2 kills are to follow. They get them off the point. Syracuse aren't quite able to take it all the way.
A bit disappointing out of the end of Syracuse towards that, but able to get 2 ticks right there. We'll have to see what their defense looks like in terms of the hero setup and actual physical setup right there. But Lunar, absolute round out of that young man.
It was a really good responses from Lunar to try and playing Orisa into Rhine. You get a lot of opportunities to, because Rhine can't move. Rhine's slow.
Oh.
Right. Just a sitting duck practically, and Lunar can, with the Fortify, with that E and with the Javelin, force Rhine out of position and try and put his team in tricky situations. But I will say, on a map like Kings Row, especially for Syracuse, you were probably really hoping to full cap there with some time to spare. So the fact that they were unable to do that and just have, I mean, they're gonna be up for it on defense.
Syracuse had a lot of kills go their way, so I'm sure they're excited. They're excited to push out, but one thing you really got to do is be disciplined here. We saw Syracuse absolutely take over the first third, the second third, but again, not able to finish the job. So if you're Syracuse here, you got to actually look at yourself, see what did we not execute fully correctly to get all 3 of those, and make sure you're able to counter that out of Boise.
As we are looking at these team comps here on the attack, Boise State, like we were talking about before, doing that kind of Widow strategy where they just have the Widow up top shooting down. We should see a switch off of that, probably to the Tracer again. Azer playing for positioning in the side hotel. This is something pretty standard you see through all teams. Just try and get here, be a thorn in their side, be a little annoying, but kind of similar comps now from both sides as Boise State starts to creep up and take space around this statue.
Look at you. You must have the script. You called the Widow, changed to the Tracer, and that's exactly what Strider did for you right there. This man knows Overwatch.
That's right. From the high ground now, Syracuse is going to try and fight down as that Rhine Diamond Dog tries to push onto the point, the stun, but going to get canceled by the Orisa abilities, and now we start to see some of that zoning tools that we talked about earlier come into play. That really good Javelin, able to find it onto the backline of Boise State. The Rhine going to charge in, and Syracuse now have to try and find a way to push the advantage. If they just keep getting walked down backwards, it's not going to be great for them. M3 is trying to keep Lunar alive. Critical, though, being focused by everybody from Boise State. Really good target selection. Hex is able to finish off Lunar. Azer is now fighting for his life in the corner. You see M3 try and just scatter around the planet, try and keep his team up, and Azer did win that Tracer duel, but as we were doing that whole thing, Boise just took the point.
Yeah, one thing I really liked in our point of view right there is seeing what Juno can do. Much more versatile, a little bit faster than a Lucio support might be, and able not entirely to keep everybody up, as we did see that tank fall for Syracuse, however, able to support very, very quickly as we get into this next fight.
Good target selection, good focusing from Boise to close that out. Syracuse trying now switch to the ramp, maybe trying to take a more forward approach, trying to kind of take the fight to Boise in more of an extreme way. Azer now doing a really good job just walking through that hotel, does end up forcing Boise back, and that is going to go in tandem with that Baffle, which was also used for that. But Boise, with 4, almost about to be 5 ults, are going to try and storm down the throat of Syracuse. That Tracer bomb is going to come in, only going to find the Immort, not going to get much else. And Azer on the flank with a pulse bomb of his own, has to find something big here. Looks for the Tracer, who's trying to kind of cause a nuisance on his backline. As we're saying this, though, the fight is just kind of being pushed. Every second that you spend jockeying for this position is more distance that the attackers are able to push, and Syracuse have to find a way to contest.
Certainly a good tracer to play is one you hate to play. You want to be annoying, and Azer knows that more than anything. Speedglass is up top. I could call him out all game. He just knows what to do with the gun right there, able to get some supporting fire, able to find some final blows. But again, Azer has been all over the map as Ramantra about to take over here. Can he find the final kill as he reloads? Has to be
staggering.
What's that?
Staggering.
Oh, okay.
So for those of you who don't know, when there's only one person left on the other team, you do this thing called staggering, which is where you essentially just wait to kill them because the respawn timer is set. So if you wait an extra 5 seconds to kill them, it's an extra 5 seconds before the other team can push. It doesn't seem like much in the moment, but over the course of a game, if you get a few good staggers, that could be an extra 30 seconds practically for free that you win.
Well, that was fantastic education, but one thing nobody really needs education on is the ult economy right now. 3v3, especially in this big of a fight, we're going to have to see what happens, especially from Lunar and Ramantra, if he could really take forward some positioning here.
Speedglass is forced off the high, forced into a little background, but Juno, that ult is going to come through. Syracuse wants to fight in and around that beam of light. It is essentially a stat boost as the Ram ult is going to come out too. That is a terrifying thing if you're Boise State. Just all that damage and speed walking right down your throat, and they are going to reap the benefits. Those two ults are used, and Boise State is stymied in their walk forward.
You got one tick if you're Boise State, but you still have 2.5 minutes, so can't freak out too much. You get the team kill right there, but Syracuse still has to play discipline, using one ultimate in that, one ult from, two ults from the other team, Boise State, in that fight loss. So that's a small victory right there, but we still got a lot to go in this round.
Interesting swap to the Genji from the Tracer for Strider. Maybe a different bit of approach, looking for a little bit more, I don't know, damage for our ability, a little bit more kind of brawling. Power, a different type of dive with that Genji, but Syracuse just looking to sit up on the height, and that might be why we see the Genji to try and get Speedglasses off of the high ground as he pops the overclock, looking for a lot. Boise doing a good job just cutting off angles. You don't challenge the Sojourn with clock and baits it out entirely. Trying now to push up Speedglasses, looking for that Ash up top. 1 HP, is able to clean it up. Another one falls for Boise State, and they're forced to back up.
Speedglasses, that's one if you got to find, if you're going to jump off of that high ground and push out the kill. He's able to do that and support the rest of his teammates. Another great fight win. 3 really great fight wins in a row for Syracuse, able to push up on that payload, see what they can do with this next wave coming at them.
In my opinion, the key to this next fight is whether or not Lunar is going to be able to charge up that Ram ult in time. As we see 70% on Lunar, that ult is so powerful, it can just shove through the opposing line completely, and when you have players like Azer and Speedglasses just sitting up back, flanking around, able to take advantage of all that chaos and misplacement that ult forces, the Bat Widow's going to come out on top, and we see the Nano Genji hopped up right all up into the space of Syracuse. Speedglass is now walking around for his life, but split off from his team. It's going to be a pretty easy time to switch targets and switch focus, and Syracuse going to be forced back though. But as I was talking about before, the Ram ult comes out. Frost does take down Azer, so now it's just Lunar on this point. Does not want to give it too easy though, and he doesn't necessarily have to. He is a powerful character, and with the support of that Juno, able to take down the Genji and start to turn the tides of this engagement. Frost just sits there, knows the fight is lost. Syracuse, a brilliant job. 14 seconds left on the clock. Boise State is going to have to get back, group up, and get on this point as fast as they can. Again, excellent play from Lunar, able to stop, but now the final fight is coming in. Coming right down each other's throats. Lunar, both Rams now fighting at this choke. Who is going to come out on top? We just see damage
Ultimate
being
pop from
flown,
Juno.
traded back and forth. M3, it finds the first pick onto Lyric. From Boise. Azer with the pulse bomb, able to find the second. All they have to do now is clean up, but Strider does not want to let that happen that easily. The C9. Strider goes, finds 2 picks on the backline, but it doesn't matter. If you don't stand on that payload, you don't win the game, Braden.
The question was, how is Syracuse going to respond? Evening this series up 1-1, and while they didn't get it all the way on offense, kind of a dominant defense out of Syracuse. Lots of kills to the kill feed, and again, not even 2 ticks on the payload.
I'm not gonna lie, that surprised me.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I mean, you heard me after the sides flipped. I was a little doomer.
You were.
I was like,
no faith.
Syracuse really wants to cap here. It's kind of unfortunate, but again, I don't want to understate the importance of that play from Lunar, recognizing his abilities, recognizing what that character is capable of. You can just press Q, press your ultimate, and then walk forward. And if there's no, because at that point, right, the fight had already splintered into kind of this chaotic fragmentation.
Yep.
So that Ram ult is perfect at continuing to sow division and create chaos. And if you're not all focusing that Ram or not just aware of the Ram and trying to get away from him, it's going to be bad news bears, and Lunar was able to turn it. And
similar to what you just said, I think the battle selection in this map 2 was essential for Syracuse victory. We saw map 1, especially around the point. We were taking a lot of stem battles that maybe the health bars weren't in Syracuse's favor. However, teaming up and able to chase the ones when you get them a little bit low was fantastic. I thought Speed Glasses especially knew when to push up, knew when to back up, looked at the feed, look at what players respond up with him. And although Azer and Lunar certainly played their parts, really everybody on Syracuse, I think Speed Glasses was my player of the game right there.
Speed Glasses is your player of the game, and for good reason. Able
I might
to kind
be
of
biased, though. I got those glasses.
4 eyes, window face, yada, yada. Have fun seeing if you were born 300 years ago, you blind loser. No, I'm just kidding. We love glasses. I mean, glasses are chill. If you have glasses, you're chill. Yeah. Glasses are a non-starter. Anywho, the next map is going to be New Queen Street. It is going to be a push map. So how it is going to work is essentially there is going to be a guy in the middle of the map. There's going to be 2 really long roads coming off of the guy on each side. If Syracuse is around the guy and Boise State is not around the guy is going to push a big metal wall forward. Boise is not going to like that, so Boise is going to try and take control of the big metal box. If Boise's around the big metal box, Braden, what does the guy do?
He's going to turn around and go back to where he started.
And
this has to be one of my favorite modes to watch because it can certainly get mixy.
Oh,
you get those battles, whoever wins, that robot is sprinting to that team's side. And again, it's kind of very visual representation of momentum. Where's the momentum going? And so it's awesome.
It's a really good point. And people often kind of call this mode ping-pongy or
I can see that.
Back and forth, another word for that, because the guy, when he's pushing the big metal block, pushes it a lot slower than when he's running back to the other team's big metal block.
Certainly.
Right?
And it's a heavy block, so I can't blame him taking his time.
I mean, you'll see the guy. He's a big robot. He's a pretty big robot, pretty beefy, mechanical strength, hydraulic power. Braden.
Wow. Fantastic. I mean, I do know we have some engineers on the Syracuse team, and let's see if they're able to assist in this robot speed. Maybe that's something you learn in engineering. I don't know. I'm in sport management.
Yeah, I am in TV, radio, and film. So
not
linguistics. You know, so I can tell you what language the robot is speaking. As we see there to your right, the big robot. These red and blue things on either side are the big metal walls that said robot is trying to push. These are kind of the big roads, and obviously it's more complicated than that. There's more ins and outs. There's walls, there's high grounds, there's positionings, there's flank angles. But in essence, what team can have the robot push the big metal block into the opponent's spawn?
And I'm interested to see how we utilize the bridge. The robot is standing right under the bridge in the beginning. What team is going to take control of that, and how is that going to sway the fight in the very beginning here?
They're going to be fighting for control of it, I can tell you that.
Exactly.
As we see, the Strider back on the Wrecking Ball. Syracuse, though, playing the Junker Queen. I personally really, really like Junker Queen in this context. I think her ability to brawl, her ability to get a fat ult, so to speak, down these long sight lines. Another important thing is Azer on the Genji. We don't see that often. More of a tracer kind of hit scan specialist, but again, it's kind of the same idea. Find these flanks, find these angles, and now Azer with that May wall coming out from Boise State, trying to separate Syracuse, but Lunar trying to take the fight to Boise, able to find one. Strider returns on Syracuse's backline, but Lunar able to find the second. No supports up for Boise State, as Syracuse should just be able to push this advantage. Azer finds one, but Strider again responds. And if you're Boise, you might not expect to win the fight, but you gotta try and do something. Finally able to take down Strider, but a little bit. You don't want it to be that difficult.
No, and that is a big kill off the bat, as we saw Strider really play his life, especially in map 1 of this. So able to get an early kill on, try to get the momentum going to your side. As we said, this robot can't figure out what he wants to do, going back and forth already.
Very easily persuaded. If you're next to him, he'll run with your team. But the fight now trying to push up. Speedglass is looking for this kill, trying to charge up that gun and get the pick onto this Mei, but as we see, Strider keeps continuing to just sow division. That Mei wall also playing into it, and now Saint's gonna fall, M3's gonna fall. Syracuse has no backline now in a 3v5. It's all but lost.
Yeah, I was a little shocked Speedglasses wasn't taking the high ground as we saw him do in map 2. And then I looked up and there was a big hamster rolling towards them. And so that kind of takes care of that, just as Boise took care of the Syracuse roster. That robot is in blue for Boise and going towards the first checkpoint right now.
Interesting choice here. It's important to look at kind of the differences between the team comps, between the supports. We have the Brig from Boise State and the Kiri from Syracuse. Syracuse looking for that invuln, right? The Kiri invuln is so valuable, but Boise looking to try and keep those fights long, but Syracuse wants to make them quick, and that is what Speedglass is able to do with that pick onto the Mei, able to try and find an advantage to press. Azer now looking for the pick on this Brig, but just dashing back into the Juno ult. It's going to heal the Brig up to full. Saint, though, finds the headshot all with the Kiri onto the Tracer. Strider responds with another on the Speedglasses. Lyric, Strider, the kill feed is coming up all Boise as they win yet another fight.
And again, going back to that decision by Azer, getting off of Tracer and going for the Genji, you have that bash and you have the deflect, something that can really help maintain bridge control for you. We saw him push out a little isolated right there, especially with a fresh health bar, not able to find anything with it, and now you could find all of the Syracuse players in their spawn.
Boise State was able to push the guy to the first checkpoint. Syracuse get him off, but in the future, that is going to prove very valuable for spawns because 4 checkpoints make the spawns a little bit closer. But anyway, I don't want to keep talking because the Kitsune Rush comes out from Syracuse. They are trying to, again, walk forward, push the advantage, take the fight to Boise. Boise, again, tries to stable, tries to back up, tries to recuperate because they excel in these longer-term engagements. As we see the Brig hide up on height with that Juno, they are just trying to stay alive. The knockback, the ball, everybody's going to come flying in, and Syracuse have to try and find a way to converge on their position. Try as they may, you know, it's really hard to take out these guys, but as I say that, Azer able to get the dash through, find the kill onto the Juno. Luna with the Hex. Boise is now down both their supports, but Strider responds, takes out a DPS and a support on the side of Syracuse, who still have control of the point, so they should be in a good position for the next few seconds.
Now we're going on the other direction, looking to get to that first checkpoint to at least answer if you're Syracuse, but with everybody out, ults 4 on the side of Syracuse, 3 for the side of Boise. This next fight could get a little bit mixy, a lot of pixels going on in the screen as that hamster ball just playing annoying, showing in, showing out, and now going to try to take over this bridge.
Fighting for the high ground on the top. Strider is able to force Speedglasses out. Juno trying to keep him up, but it's not going to work. The Speedglass is going to fall, Kiri is going to fall, Azer's going to fall. Lunar comes out maybe a little bit late with that valuable JQ ult. Takes down Lyric, takes down the enemy Juno, but not much is going to happen. Should be an easy cleanup for Boise State. Kind of took the height on that first pick and it all crumbled.
Took the height, and then Lunar, when you're in the 2v1 with no ability, is going to be very, very difficult to win. If anybody could do it, would be Lunar, but unable to get it right there. Speedglasses saying hello, waiting for his teammates, and ready to engage.
Trying to group back up. 5 ults for Boise, 3 for Syracuse. The ult economy, you got to know when to use them, you got to know when to spend them, right? Because five ults in one fight is kind of wasted. So we'll see the approach here from Boise State. The hamster ult is going to come out quick. The minefield forcing Syracuse off into 1,000 different directions. From that, they are just able to quickly team or clean it up. Boise State just keeps throwing it, like you throw a grenade into the middle of the party, everybody's going to scatter.
That's certainly an analogy. Speedglasses did try to play his live back up a little bit there as he was the last one up, but there is only so much you can do. Don't give up extra map space to Boise State, so eventually he bit the bullet and took the kill. Now Boise really on the offensive here, going all over the place as M3 going to try with this Juno to assist the teammates, maybe even get some damage on the other team as they're searching for them in the shops.
The swap onto the Kree proved valuable for Syracuse, able to find that first quick pick again now, but the blade comes out from Azer, trying to find and force the people off this height. Hex is so low, Azer smacked away, but is able to find the kill. As I'm talking, no Strider causing more trouble, and Syracuse's backline finds two. Frost picks up the third. Now Syracuse is trying to scrap, trying to stay alive on this point, but that ball, that movement from Strider, just staying elusive. This Tracer as well can just stay far away and pepper down the health bars of Syracuse. Each team waits for their reinforcements to come in. Teams kind of jockey for position. Who's going to end up on top? Azer falls to the Mei, slows him down. Strider takes down Lunar. Syracuse have no choice but to disengage.
Now those ultimates in the last fight, the one that Syracuse originally lost, really all opened up with Strider's ultimate. If you're a Syracuse fan, do not look to the top left because Strider has another one. They can do the same exact thing that worked the last time. How is Syracuse going to respond with even less ults than they had in that original fight?
They're going to try and play with this cast on height to try and take it down, but as we see the Mei wall coming through, the Juno speed boost is all going to be for naught as Strider again flies in with that ult, able to split Syracuse up, pick them off at each junction. It doesn't seem like Syracuse is able to group up and get a solid team fight. The desperation Widow swap here from Azer. This is a gamble because you just have to find a pick. Azer right off the bat, proving me stupid, finds some cash from that swap.
A little background on me as the Call of Duty captain. There are two heroes in this game I absolutely love. Widow, Soldier 76. We're seeing Widow right here. We're seeing Widow used very effectively. Misses the shot right there, but what can they do right here? Gonna rapid fire. Turned on, maybe? Nothing right there for Widow.
Able to clean up the kill on the Tracer, but that hamster is going to fly in. Be pretty much impossible for that Widow to take on 1v1, but very clutch picks there from Azer to try and keep Syracuse's hopes in this map alive. The ball is low HP, but is going to try and get away. As we've been seeing, they are just unable to completely close out the life force on this ball as our guy runs back to the other side.
Strider's movement has to be one of the best things I have seen in competitive Overwatch in my brief time. Just utilizing the hamster ball, up walls, around, inside, outside, knowing when to play annoying, knowing when to push out. Fantastic work by Strider. Syracuse going to fall 2 down to Strider, who did pop that other ult, working on his third one of this match. It's getting a little bit mixy in Lunar. Is he able to find anything here?
No, the 1v1 there, it's not something that's going to end up good. Syracuse have pretty much lost this fight. They just have to back up. It's really tough because the Widow, while it can be very valuable, you have the Tracer and Frost who can just be a disruption. But Syracuse looking for the counter. The Kitsune Rush is going to come through. They have this Mei separated out, and they're going to find the pick. Speedglasses finds the second. Lunar with the third. Syracuse able to turn a bad situation into a better situation with that smart ult there from Saint.
I absolutely love the utilization of the rush right there, able to open up some space, bring this robot as fast as he can. Look at that form. He's a track star, trying to bring him back to the middle of the map, maybe even turn some momentum towards their side. Azer looking to pick his fights selectively.
This is what's brutal about having that Widow. You force it to take off angles, and with that you force resources to go and defend said Widow. Lunar is able to find the trade onto the Mei, but it might be too little too late. As Strider, Frost, and Lyric each find one. Lunar's pretty much going to try and stall for a little bit of time, but it's going to be almost wraps as there's 15 seconds left in this match, and Syracuse, if they would want to win, would have to get back, take control of the cart, and then push it continuously all the way to the mirror place of where Boise State got it to at the start.
Very difficult indeed, but it would start with the robot going in the right direction as overtime is withering away. Has to go huge for Syracuse. Can you at least minimize the damage, try to execute something well, a fight well at the end of this map to potentially go into the next one? So far, it looks so good. Consistent damage. Danny, what do you see?
Syracuse is doing a good job trying to prolong this fight, keep it alive, trying to push their advantage, but the ults are just coming in from Boise State, and it is almost too much to try and fight against. Strider raining in hellfire, bombs, missiles from the sky. It's going to prove to be a little bit too much for Syracuse to fight against as they fall in map 3 and are down 2-1 in this best-of-5 series.
Certainly. Match point coming up for Boise State. Are they able to close it out 3-1? Or do we maybe have a map 5 on our hands for PEC Night 1? We'll just have to find out. But I do think there were some good things done by both sides. Syracuse certainly much more on the defensive in that, and the scoreline might look a little bit wide, but we did see some fight wins out of Syracuse. Boise State just abusing that hamster.
I mean, it's tough, and maybe Boise State taking advantage of the lack of I don't know, I don't want to say practice training. It does beg the question: what is Sneaky saying now? Because they're just getting rolled by this wrecking ball.
Yep.
Again, I've been saying this throughout the show, but it's because it's an important point to realize that ball causes chaos, and if your team isn't able to immediately regroup, it's gonna be reps. Ball isn't meta.
No.
There's a reason why, if you go and watch OWCS,
yep.
You will see some ball now and then, definitely, but it's going to be a lot of Rams, it's going to be a lot of Orisa, because those are theoretically better tanks. But when that ball is able to take advantage of nerves, of potentially some sloppy coordination, it's tough.
You do have a young Boise State team, but that is a great esports program with lots of fantastic coaching. I think that has to be something that was said coming into this. You know, Sneaky is a fantastic coach coming in and working with Syracuse, coached his players up on what to expect, and now the unexpected, week 1, going to be scrambling a little bit if you're Syracuse, and I think that's what we've seen.
Yeah, and it's also hard not to let that domination, in a sense, get to your head. At this level, both these teams are good. We aren't going to see complete washes, but that push map was kind of close to that. Syracuse did not get much progress. Boise State was just kind of running through Syracuse, and the mental. It's going to be tough to have the mental not be completely shot.
I can understand where you're coming from, but there is one big variable that I have yet to mention on the stream yet, and that is Sneaky's lucky socks. He's wearing his lucky flamingo socks today, as he does normally when he's casting in my position, and also when he's coaching right now. So how do you think that is going to affect us in map 4?
How do I think the lucky socks are going to affect
pink
us?
Flamingo socks, Daniel.
Braden, I don't think the pink flamingo socks are going to affect us much in the current position, in the current geopolitical state of the world.
Oh.
I hate to say it. Syracuse is going to need a little bit more than pink flamingo socks if they want to try and force a map 5. I will say about that map 5.
Yeah.
Talking to Sneaky before the game, and he made it clear, if Syracuse is able to push it to a map 5, Sneaky considers it a win.
He does.
And not only does he consider it a win because, got me a 5 against a good team. No. He says if Syracuse makes it to a map 5, they're going to win.
That's a sneaky guarantee right there. As we said in the beginning, this is a Boise State team, especially in Overwatch, who's not very familiar with a Game 5. Usually able to finish it out 3-0, some cases in 4, as we could see them do right here. So if you get into map 5 territory, it's the terminology we use in football, any given Sunday. If you get it to the distance, you play the games for a reason, and let's see what happens out of Syracuse.
I mean, this is kind of why we play, right? You don't want to... The first map looked bad. Looked bad.
Yeah.
The second map looked a little better.
No.
Third map looked bad. Do you guys see this pattern? Do you see this pattern?
I think. Are you saying that map 4 is going to look better? Good.
Yes.
Great.
Bingo. No. Okay. Here's what I think it is. We're gonna get New Junk City, which is I don't know the. This is bad by me. I don't know the physical name of what the map is called, but essentially how it works is there's 5 mini points throughout the map. It's like King of the Hill, but there are kind of 5 points that each team fights for, and they go fast.
Yep.
They're really quick. Maybe each point is decided by 1 or 2 team fights, and that pretty much just kind of decides the fight. So on this map, what we're looking for is decisive team fights. It is good rotations because the map doesn't reset either after each point. It just goes right to the next one. So these are pretty massive maps, but each team only fights on a small section of it at any given point.
And I think this comes down to really 2 big points when talking to the Syracuse team. They brought up rotations.
Yep.
How are you able to work as a team onto that next point? And then being first, being aggressive in the battles. You wanna be the first one there, make the other team come to you. That's something we didn't see a lot of in map 2, map 3. Are they able to do it in map 4?
If I may say, look at the character selection. We have some a little weird. We have an old school dive coming in for, unless I just got trolled. Nope. Looks like we are going to get an old school dive. The TP is going to be placed, just a strategy to get the team out faster. Azer is going to go back, switch to the Tracer, and go out. The Winston Tracer Genji, that is almost the poster child of
playing
Overwatch competitive in the first iteration of the game before GOATS came out, and which was so bad they had to come out with a brand new game that actually was just a balance patch. Anyway, Clear now is going to be the one on the Tracer. Strider is still on the tank. It seems like they subbed in Clear from their bench. Clear immediately is going to win that Tracer duel onto Azer, and now that is the ticket for Boise State to try and walk forward, push this advantage, and push the advantage they do. Lunar trying to get into the backline, but it doesn't matter if you get into the opponent's backline if the opponent already has taken out your own.
Exactly. Winston able to make an immediate impact right there, but going to get traded out eventually by Clear and Co. However, Syracuse not going to be able to jump on that point right away. Azer trying to get out with his life while still getting some shots in, going back and forth with the Tracer battle, and eventually just going to disengage. And as I say that, Azer doesn't really care what I'm talking about. He's going to go in for another fight.
Azer wants blood. Azer wants to try and put this game on his back and do the best he can to try and bring Syracuse to a map 5. This next fight is going to come out as we see the point already at 50%. Again, it is going to be the first to 3 point captures is going to be the one to win this map. The Pulse Bomb is going to come out on Looter, going to do some damage, but not much more. The healers from Syracuse doing a good job keeping their front line up. Azer now in the back line. Clear, though, does find Juno in the back. A very important kill as Boise State pushes the advantage like we've been talking about. You get 1 pick. How can you convert it into a team wipe? The point also is going quick. We're already at 90%. Frost takes down Emmy on the Genji, and this first point is going to go to Boise State.
I mean, those kills, the map spread, the map control is huge, especially off that first one on Lunar, as we mentioned. And now Syracuse might need to just chalk up that first one and go on to the next. But the ult economy looking for 2 for Boise State. Not seeing anything quite yet.
2, 3, almost 4 practically. The swap off of the Juno to the Lucio, M3 probably a bit fed up with how he's just getting run through by the Tracer, but again, Strider walks up into Syracuse, sits down, pushes the Javelin into the ground, creates a swirling vortex of deadly energy that increases over time, and Syracuse gets deleted.
It's like you're reading the definition of the abilities,
result
which is great. I mean, it's the best way to put it. But Syracuse right here, if they want to push this to a map 5, need to play pretty much perfect Overwatch the rest of the way. Not ticking, no 2 ticks have been taken by Boise State. However, they are working very, very fast on that second one, and kills are not going the way of Syracuse.
It's just so tough with this kind of weird team comp from Boise State. It's so hard with that new DPS champion who can just let's make a new champion.
Okay.
And let's have them dig underground.
Yep.
And be able to just pop up and kill you. It's like a miner in Clash Royale. It's absolutely kind of ridiculous.
Wow.
Syracuse, though, yet to win a single team fight. Now they want their luck to change. Clear is going to find the stick onto Emmy, but right as I say that, Azer with the switch onto the cast finds the trade onto Clear. Able to also take down the DPS pair for Boise State. And now Syracuse are going to be the one who wants to take this before this point is captured by Boise State. They do contest. They are trying to push this advantage, but Boise State able to just stay alive for so long.
Yeah, these are kills you need to be getting and getting fast on top of getting to this hill. Now Syracuse is going to start to pick up some percentages right here. 99% for Boise State. All they really got to do is get in, bleed out that overtime, and they're up 2-0. But Syracuse has something to say about it. Kills go back and forth,
yeah,
but
I mean,
really just the way of Boise.
It's kind of all Boise State. Syracuse, just when they show a glimpse, a fraction with off of a good pick from Azer, just unable to convert it into something more, unable to really finish and close out a fight. And Boise State just like we were talking about before, stabilizes and kind of makes quick work with Syracuse.
Now, if you're Syracuse, you do have
This
to play
is
perfect
set
Overwatch.
point right here. It's the last flash point. That's what the mode is called, flash point, excuse me. And this is going to be an important fight. Syracuse want to dump ults and try and get ahead of it, but Strider, the name of the game, shows up big again, dashes in and gets an absolutely massive Orisa ult. Emmy does pop the blade, but it's not going to do much. Syracuse spent 3 ults there, and all Boise State had to do was have Strider walk up and press Q.
Yeah. Using ults and not finding kills is not a recipe for success. They did find 2 there. However, they got traded out with 5 on the wrong side of the kill feed for Syracuse. Now sprinting to the hill, trying to break Boise State's setup, who seems to be all relatively clumped up close together. You got one in the corner right here, able to get some shots in the back, and that might be a deadly position right there for Boise State.
Oh, the Deadeye comes out, but what it does is leave you in a position to get absolutely hit with a Pulse Sticky Bomb. Clear finds the opportune moment to use that ability, and Syracuse now relegated to a 4v5. They're stunned. They're getting pushed into a corner. You can't fight with your back to a wall. Boise State just has to win one more fight to take the match.
It's all about playing rowdy, and that's what they did. They have a perfect sandwich or pinch, if you will, when those players funneled in the only open entrance for them to come in, and now Azer himself trying to work his way around, trying to get in through the flank, but you really have 5% to work with.
Syracuse just kind of scrambling for anything here. That Venture is able to find 2. Again, just causing havoc, going into the back line, taking Syracuse out, and unfortunately, a bit of a bummer if you are a Syracuse fan, as Boise State is going to take week 1 of the PEC with a 3-1 victory over the Syracuse Orange.
Certainly with Rocket League yesterday and Overwatch today, that is a 2-0 lead for Boise State in this matchup this week as we play in the Power Esports Conference. Same opponents all week long across all the titles that are offered, but certainly one that stings for Syracuse University. But as Azer said when talking to him earlier today, only way is up. Regardless of what the performance was in week 1, it is week 1, so how do you respond from here?
You got to hit the drawing board. I mean, Syracuse just kind of looked lost. That Venture in combo with that strong Wrecking Ball play from Strider into the Orisa play. The only map that Boise State lost was when Strider was not playing tank.
Exactly.
So, and again, tank players, it's an important role. It's a valuable role. So, but you got to find a way to kind of lock in and deal with the chaos. Venture, not a good meta champ in competitive Overwatch, a high-level competitive Overwatch. Ball, very situational, high-level competitive Overwatch. It's a cheese strategy. You can beat cheese. Cheese is beatable. You just have to be on top of your game, and you have to be prepared. Syracuse either was not prepared or just was not on top of their game going into this match.
And I think one thing that you might not see in the kill feed or in the middle of battles is Boise State's support and how they were able to utilize that. They made kills for Syracuse really, really difficult, even when branching out of set formations and trying to chase the kill. The support play out of Boise, frankly, was better than Syracuse on the day, and ultimately that's going to decide a lot of these matchups.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a team effort. You know, Syracuse came into this match kind of as the underdog, and you know, David versus Goliath wouldn't be such a famous story if David always beat Goliath.
Exactly. And if you are Syracuse, I think you look back at that map too, and there are a lot of positives. I think in all of these maps, there are a lot of positives, at least at brief times. Ultimately, the result of a 3-1 isn't exactly what you want to do. If you want to lose, you want to lose as close as possible in a 3-2 fashion. However, that map too looked really, really well. And you know, you were down in them going into the defensive round, but they really held their own, and that's something I think when looking back at the VOD, you got to gain some confidence in that. But overall, Boise State won on the day.
Credit where credit is due. Boise State played very well, and Syracuse, this will not be the last time you hear from them. I know them well, and they are going to use this as fuel. They're going to come back stronger, and they're going to come back better, but they will not come back until next week.
That's true.
That is going to do it for us, for this broadcast, for myself, for Braden, for everybody in the production booth, Sean, Cole, Bree. This broadcast is a combination of so much time and so much effort, and we're happy that this is being brought to your screens in general. So.